Hi, I'm Leanne from BatLadyHerbals and welcome to my video. So today we are in Central Florida in a little town outside of Orlando called Oviedo, and we happened to be hiking on this little trail the other day and found something I'm super excited to share with you. Now if you see behind me, this gorgeous lake is just full of these yellow flowers. These yellow flowers are what I wanted to talk about today. They're actually not only an aquatic plant, but they're also carnivorous. And I have this absolute love for every carnivorous plant I've ever met. Now the name of this plant, the common name, is Bladderwort. The scientific name of this species is Utricularia inflata. Now, if you look really closely at these flowers, they look a little familiar. That's because while this isn't in the mint family, the Lamiaceae, it is in the mint order Lamialis. Now, also if you notice, from here up is what we see floating on top of the lake. There's a whole network underneath the lake in the water. One other thing about this plant and all the species in the genus is that they don't have roots. Instead, they form this lacy mesh kind of network of bladders or little sacs. You see all the little black spots or the dark spots? That's what I'm talking about. And that is the trap. When something small, like a microscopic crustacean, a protozoa, a fish that's just hatched, small enough to get trapped, gets close enough and triggers the hairs, the sac opens, creating a vacuum, and the poor thing gets sucked in and digested for extra nutrients. Now if you see on these specialized leaves up here, they're full of air, and this is what keeps the plant floating. So this neat little plant is native to Florida and most of the Southeast, but it's been introduced to Washington State as well as upstate New York, where it's become a problem and has now become invasive, clogging waterways everywhere. Now if you're looking for this, you're looking for bodies of water, fresh water, that have a low pH and don't have very many nutrients. That's why it's kind of evolved to have this bladder where it eats microscopic things. But of course, we're not just here to talk about all of the ways this plant are interesting in its carnivorousness and all this other stuff. I also wanted to share with you the Native American traditions on how it's used medicinally. Now it doesn't have very many uses, but it's really amazing for a couple things. Now this is amazing for your urinary tract, including your kidneys, and has been used traditionally in Native American medicine for hundreds of years for just those reasons. It helps to fight and prevent kidney stones as well as gallstones. It helps to encourage the excretions from the gallbladder, which help your digestion overall. And it also is an amazing antibiotic to help with the urinary tract and kidney infections. Now, you can find this in tincture form, but a lot of Native American tradition says that you need to start with a fresh plant, wash it off really well in cold water, cover it up, put it on the stove, and basically make a decoction out of it, which is like a really strong tea, and drink the tea. Now you can also use this plant for wound care and for burns, where this mat part can be used as a compress or poultice to put on top of any open wounds, any burns, and it'll help speed the healing of those. And with the burns, it'll also help to take away a little bit of that sting. Now, there's not much information on how edible this plant is, but you can safely drink a tea from it. So there's at least that. It is supposed to be slightly bitter, but bitter is medicinal, right? Now, this plant is often listed as being a diuretic, a vulnerary, and mildly astringent, which is probably the properties that make it great for the wound care and for your urinary tract. Now, this species is one that's in Florida, but there are about 220 species in the genus and about 330 species in the family, which is one of 2 families in the Lamialis order that are carnivorous. Now, you can find a species of bladderwort pretty much all over the world, and they are spread throughout. There are some in China, in Eastern Asia, places like that, where they do use them in Ayurvedic or traditional Chinese medicines. But the species we have here is not one that's commonly used in those traditions. So thank you for joining me today in my little adventure with this wonderful carnivorous species, bladderwort. Once again, I'm Leanne from BatLadyHerbals. If you like what I do and would like to see more, please feel free to find me on Patreon and become a patron. The links are going to be down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Also, if you have questions or comments, or if you have any more information to add that maybe I didn't cover, please feel free to leave that in the comments down below. I have a shop on Teespring that has some t-shirts on it. Please browse that and feel free to go shopping. As well as if you guys want me to come over and help you find what might be natural in your yard that you don't realize you can use, send me an email and ask about backyard tours. You can also find my blog at BatLadyHerbals.com, where there will be more information on this little plant and quite a few others. Feel free to browse that and enjoy. Have a wonderful day. Anything in the urinary tract, especially if you have like a urinary tract infection, kidney infection. You make me nervous when you do that.
I was watching a butterfly, literally.
Like, what's behind me? All right. Now, this plant is often listed as being diuretic, not diabetic. I was about to say diabetic.